beach fishing, learn how to improvise. Hi, my name's Roger Osborne. Have you ever planned to go fishing but you've had a few curveballs? It actually happens quite a lot. Well, in today's video, I'm in that situation and I'm going to teach you how to improvise and actually have an awesome fishing session. Stick around to the end for a free PDF download which will outline some vital keys from today's session. So as usual, while I'm fishing, you'll know exactly what's going on in my fishing brain. I love sharing that with you guys, and it's so good to get all the feedback that I get. So anyway, we better get into it. Make sure that you like, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you haven't already. Come on, boys and girls, you can do it. Let's get fishing. Well, I've popped down to the beach, and for once the weather report is actually accurate. They were reporting onshore winds, east-southeast, which is generally the worst wind you can get on the beach, although it's relatively light. It was only supposed to be 10 k's an hour, so that's neither here nor there. It is still pretty cool, and I've found the only bit of deep water on the beach. This beach is pretty featureless, although there's a reasonable hole right where I'm standing, and this would actually be really good at high tide. I'm going to be fishing right on the bottom of the tide. So I'm fishing the tide change right on dark, a low tide, but there's still a reasonable highway out to the back, a little bit of depth of water, a small channel going along the edge. So if I was giving this spot a ranking out of 10, I'd probably give it about a 6 out of 10. It has some okay features. I fully expect to catch some fish here, but really the focus on my video tonight is I want to focus on catching bigger fish. So it's not necessarily just catching bread and butter fish, so hopefully we can hook something big, whether that's a shark, a mulloway, whatever. We want to aim for bigger fish. So that's the plan. But you know, as in the title of this video, I was talking about having to improvise, and would you believe, I look around and go, oh no, I didn't bring my bait bucket and my belt, and I'm just about to just quickly pull a few worms. I'm going, where am I going to put the worms? So anyway, I managed to find a plastic bag, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put the plastic bag, no, not that pocket. I found a plastic bag. I'm just going to put it in my pocket down here, and then I'll put the worms that I catch into the plastic bag in my pocket. Anyway, that's something I can do. At least I've got something to put the worms in. Otherwise, I wasn't sure what I was going to do. But yep, so I've got a bag in my pocket, and that's where I'm going to whack the worms as I catch them. You know, I've been running some amazing beach fishing boot camps / training weekends over the last 18 months, where I get a bunch of people together and we spend quality time over 2 days learning everything about beach fishing and beach worming. If you'd like to join me in person on one of these camps, receive some one-on-one instruction, group instruction on everything around your beach fishing and worming, why don't you join us at the next weekend, which is near Foster on the New South Wales mid-north coast on the first week of September. I also run boot camps fairly regularly through the year, so if you can't make it in the first week of September, perhaps you might be able to join us on one of the other ones. I've had an amazing time meeting people, and so many people have really improved their fishing and learnt heaps from attending these weekends. So I hope to see you there. Okay, first cab off the rank is to catch a few worms. I'm only catching the worms so that I can potentially catch something small that I can use as a whole live bait or cut up. So I've got some pilchards and worms with me, but I'm really just using them to catch bait, and then I want to use the bait I catch to catch bigger fish. So I'll start off, I brought a stocking with me. I'm also going to use this stocking to burley once I have caught the worms with it. So I'm just going to devote maybe 15 minutes to getting, I don't need many worms, half a dozen would be all I need. So actually part of my improvising is I wasn't planning on using this for bait. I actually went down to the local harbour to catch some live yellowtail. So I get down to the harbour, I burleyed up. Do you know what? There wasn't a single thing. The water was pretty clear, but there was no bait fish at all. So that was the first curveball because I wanted to use both live and dead yellowtail, but there wasn't a yellowtail in sight, so nothing I can do about that. So I thought, well, the tide's pretty good, the sea's not too rough, I've got pretty good conditions, so I'm going to go fishing. So how can I improvise now that I can't catch the live yellowtail? I definitely wouldn't give up, that's for sure. So that's how I ended up going for worms and pilchards, because of the lack of live bait. So anyway, I'm excited. I'm going to go and see if I don't even know if there's worms here, but we'll find out. Would you believe I've been looking up and down here, I haven't seen a single worm, nothing. I thought I was going to just say, well, not a worm to be seen, but I think I've found one. I don't want to lose, I don't want to find one worm and then not get it. That would be bummer. That wouldn't be good. I've got to get him to make sure that he bites onto the bait properly. That's the only worm I've seen. One only. It's enough for about 2 baits. One is better than none. I'll have a quick look and see if I can get a second one, but oh well, I've got 2 worm baits out of 1 worm. That's what you call minimalist. Minimalist worming. Well, okay guys, that's what you call extremely slim pickings. I only saw 1 worm. Thankfully I got that worm. So all I have is a beach worm, which will give me 2 baits. But that's enough to potentially catch 2 fish. So I'm going to start off, all I'll have is my pilchards and 1 worm, and I'll see where I can go from there. Getting a bit chilly down here. At least this outer layer keeps the wind off a bit, which is good. Well, I've baited up with some of that 1 worm that I caught. I want to see how far I can stretch that 1 worm. I definitely get 2 baits out of it, but often you get some of your bait back when you catch a fish, so I might be able to extend it just a little bit. And I've used my stocking to burley up the gutter. I've actually had the burley going while I've just been rigging my line. So now I'm going to have a toss out here. I have the 2 different baits. I've got a pilchard and a worm. I just want to see what I can catch to use for bait to catch something bigger. And just here I've got a little trough in front of me that then the gutter goes pretty much straight out, but I can see that there's a really strong rip. There's a lot of turbulence in that water as it's heading out to sea. But we'll see what's in there. I reckon that because I've already got some fish scent going in the water from that burley, I'm hoping that that's already caught the attention of something. So I'd be expecting, actually, having put that burley in the water, that it'll create some interest. So we'll see how long it takes to get a bite. I'm just adjusting my drag. Don't want it to be too light. I mean, the water doesn't look too bad out there. There's a little bit of depth, a bit of white water, and that burley should be doing its trick. Oh, I'm getting a bite. There you go. Yep, just had a nibble. Haven't been out there all that long. Definite bite then, but it hasn't gone on with it. Why is that? It actually pulled reasonably hard then. Definitely had a bite, so where is that fish? I'm being patient, I don't want to strike before I know I can potentially hook the fish. Oh, had a bite, missed him. What was that? And do I have any bait left? Yeah, I think I've got one. No, I don't. Had a couple of bites then though. It's interesting. You can see how the pilchard is really kind of all hacked up. Just looking at that, that might make me think that that could be trevally, because they're fairly soft biters. So I'll put another pilchard on. They didn't take the worm though. Worm's still good. So it could be trevally. The fact that I was getting reasonable bites, but I didn't really hook up. So I'll just get another bait. Okay, straight back out again. I don't mind the look of this little gutter with the sandbar just over there. I'm just going to plop it over on the edge. It looks all right, just out in front of where my burley is. Just going to cast a little bit to the left of where I cast last time. Yeah, that landed pretty much right on the edge of the sandbar. See if I can hook up this time. That definitely wasn't a salmon bite. Because salmon are just gutses. I'm going to walk over and tread on my burley. Just want to get a bit more scent out there. Just going to mush those pilchards up a little bit. Gotcha. Okay, so I had a bite that time. Took a little bit longer to get a bite. It's a pretty good bite, but I can already tell what it is. And it's not a salmon. So I'm just going to bring this guy in. It's a brim. So this brim has taken the beach worm. You can see the worm there. Now he's a little bit small, so he'll go straight back in. But okay, so that little bit of burley helped. And there's a brim out there. Maybe there's some bigger ones. Although that's not really what we're after, but I'll put him back in. Oops. So my previous cast I had a bite on pilchard, but this time I had a bite on the worm, and there's actually sufficiently enough worm left that I'm just going to push it down a little bit onto the hook a bit more. And look at that. I've still got my bait. So I'll recycle it. So that definitely felt like a brim bite. The previous one didn't. Okay, I'm getting a bite that's coming towards me. Have I got it? It swam towards me. I don't think so, unless I've got something small. That was weird. That was like the first bites I had. So it's knocked off. The entirety of that piece of pilchard is gone. The worm is untouched. So whatever that was picked up the pilchard and was just ragdolling it, but difficult to hook. So because I don't have a bait bucket, actually I could put some pilchards in my pocket. So I think I need to do that, because at the moment I'm just, you know, back and forth. I have my half pilchard again, just using the classic 2-hook rig. One sliding hook and one main hook. Oh, it just got caught on my finger. Put that through the middle. Then I'm going to get my sliding hook. Put it in here. So I've missed those last couple of bites. I still think that could very well be trevally. We'll soon see. Put that on there and I'm ready to go. And the 2 pilchard heads I'll mush up into the waves as a bit of extra burley as well. It definitely makes a difference putting a scent in the water. I'm not needing to cast out very far. I'm just landing in that white water. Ah, I'm gonna get you. Gonna get you. I'm not letting those seagulls knock off my burley. So my plan at the moment is to actually catch some fish that I can use for bait. It's just been a little quiet. I have caught that small brim, and on 2 of my other casts I've had a succession of bites, quite rapid bites that were a little soft that annihilated my bait, but I wasn't able to hook up. But for about the last 5 or 10 minutes I haven't had a bite, so I'm just being patient. It's getting to that time of the evening where tailor would normally come around, and they're good bait. So just putting in a little bit of time at the moment and waiting for the fish to bite. Those seagulls are not doing the right thing. They're pecking away at my burley stocking. I've given up going over there and scaring them. At least the waves help a little bit. Oh yeah, look at that. There's an eagle, sea eagle. They've been known to steal fishermen's fish plenty of times. If we had a fish and we chucked it up on the sand, I reckon he'd come down for it. Maybe they know that fisherman means food. You know, I sharpened my knife the other day. It's much better now since I sharpened it. Just putting a slightly larger, almost like it's more of a 3/4 pilchard bait on. I used to use a lot of pilchards for snapper when I was fishing out on the reefs. Pilchards were a great snapper bait, really good. Beautiful. Just get my bait keeper out, put a bit of bait in there, whack that in my pocket, or as we say in Australia, in your skyrocket pocket, same thing. It rhymes, you know. So far I've just been fishing with the one rig tonight. I've got the 2 baits on. I have a worm bait on, which is on a long shank. It's a size 1 long shank hook with a worm on. And then I have 2 hooks. I've got a 4/0 suicide and a 2/0 suicide, which I'm using for the pilchard bait. I'm using a 30-pound leader with the pilchard, just in case I get hit by a tailor. I may have some chance of not being bitten off. I've actually got a lighter leader with the worm bait. It's only 16 pounds as opposed to 30. And the rod that I'm using is 12 feet long, and I've got a 5,000 size reel spooled with 15-pound monofilament. This is what I call a relatively light to medium, really. It's not a super light beach outfish, because sometimes I fish with only 10-pound line if I'm just fishing for whiting. Gotcha. Yep, I got a bite, finally. Oh, a little bit of drag going there. It's getting dark, so it's hard to tell what's going on, what I've got. It could be just a tailor. Might even be a salmon. It's hard. Oh, it's just on the shore. Here we go. We'll get him up. There you go, Terry Taylor. Oh no, that's not Terry Taylor. That is a small salmon. Okay, so that small salmon's actually taken the worm bait. You can see him there. I think he's well hooked. I think he swallowed it. So I'm going to keep this fish, obviously. He's swallowed that worm bait. It's been really quiet. I've actually only been fishing for about an hour. I caught that small brim. I've just caught a salmon. Really, my goal was to catch something that I could use for bait. So I'm going to fillet that salmon and put a slab on a big hook and whack it out in a minute. But I was talking to the guy at the Complete Angler in Ulladulla today, just saying, hey, you know, what's the latest fishing reports? I always like to find out what people are catching. And he was just saying how it's just been really quiet and really dead. It's like this really cold current of water has come in close to shore. And I'm down on the beach here, and there's hardly anything happening. I couldn't catch any bait today, any yellowtail. The water was crystal clear, no fish around even though I was burling. So do any of you guys know about that, as to potentially what that might be, how it works? Definitely everything's really quiet, not a lot of fish around. So yeah, I'd just be interested to know if you could put it in the comments, that'd be great. So anyways, now I'm going to fillet this salmon and put a piece on. So I have this salmon, which would actually be lovely to eat at this size. I'm going to scale him because you want to remove the scales when you're putting a fillet on. You don't want to have the scales on there because they stop the barb of your hook. Now I'm using the back of my knife to scale him, because if I was to use the front of the knife, I'd end up cutting into the fish. So I'm just using the back of the knife to do that. And all I'm going to do is just a quick basic fillet, where I cut down to the backbone like that. Now I'm aware of where the knife is, even though my hand is there. Then I swap positions and go underneath like that, and I've got that lovely slab of salmon. So I'm just going to put him there, and I think what I'm going to do is cut this in half like that. That's a nice slab of salmon, that. So I'm going to throw that sucker out. Actually, I've got two nice baits there, so I'm going to put this one on now. I'm only going to put one big hook on it. Keep it really simple. I'm just slicing a little bit of that flesh off. It was a little bit too thick. I want to make sure that the barb's sticking out. Look at that lovely little bit of sashimi there. That'll be good. Now I actually have a 10-0 hook. You can see the size of this hook. It's a big hook. And all I'm going to do with this is I'm going to use the old half hitch at the top. Is I'm going to put this through the flesh, throughout the skin side. I'm going to pull it, just wiggle it all the way through. So you can see the lines going through the fillet. And then about 2/3 of the way down, or maybe a bit further, in the centre of the fillet, I'm going to put that through so the barb comes out the flesh, nice soft flesh side. Just going to try and hold this so you guys can see. So essentially I've got the barb of the hook coming out. Looks like it's been crumbed ready for frying, doesn't it? Although you wouldn't really want those crumbs. That would be pretty gritty. Then I'm going to do a big half hitch and put that around the top of this fillet. That just means it's gonna sit better. It's just gonna hang better. Now let's toss this lovely bit of fish flesh out into this little gutter. The tide has turned, so it's just about maybe half an hour in, half an hour above the low tide. So let's whack this out there and see what's cruising, especially now that it's getting dark. If you'd like a free PDF download of some vital keys from today's session, hit the link in the corner or in the description below. Getting a tailor bite, I think. Oh, what's going on there? That really felt like a tailor. It was savaging the bait and coming towards me pretty quickly. Not easy to hook a fish. I actually think I may have been bitten off. I did have that 10-0 hook, but I was just using the 30-pound fluorocarbon leader. It was quite a continued savage bite. I think I better pull my line in and see the damage, survey the damage. Although I've actually had this salmon fillet out for about half an hour. I've been standing here like an icicle in the freezing cold for half an hour. Hadn't had a bite up until that point. So anyway, I think I better have a look and see what's going on. Pull it in. I can't really feel much weight of bait on the other end. I pull my hood up over because it was so cold here. My core temperature was just getting down a little bit. Oh, there you go, look guys. We have, ta-da! Nothing on the end. It's been savaged. So that, it felt to me like a tailor. I mean, it could have been a bronze whaler, but it felt more like a tailor bite. Now, actually guys, on that note, I'm actually gonna pack it up. I could stay here, but it's so flippin' freezing cold. So as a general wrap up, I have needed to adjust a bit in this fishing session. It's been quite challenging. I actually did end up catching 2 fish on 1 bait. Only used half of that 1 beachworm that I had. So I caught the brim on the beachworm, but the bait was still good. And I caught the salmon on the same bait. I've tossed out a slab of salmon. It hasn't been very much action. I've just had that 1 bite now, which has bitten me off after about half an hour. But you know, I like to keep it real with my videos, because in teaching you guys about fishing, I mean, the reality of when I go fishing is there's probably 9 times out of 10 I catch a heap of fish. So there's not many times that I don't. And this is one of those evenings where all I've caught is a brim and a salmon, 1 lonely beachworm, and couldn't manage to catch any live yellowtail. So I like to keep it real for you guys, so you know that it's not perfect every time. But you know, like, man, I'm so blessed to be out here. It's amazing, so good. Even though it's freezing cold, you know, I wouldn't sacrifice it for anything. So I look forward to seeing you guys next week with another exciting fishing adventure. Catch you then.